Good evening. Picture a man in a foreign country, a man who could walk out the door tonight and vanish into a city that would never send him back. He is surrounded by more freedom than he has ever known in his life. And yet he stays day after day on a job site far from home because the regime that sent him understands something crueler than any wall or wire. It knows exactly where his mother sleeps, where his wife waits, where his children go to school. Tonight we talk about North Korea's overseas workers and about the invisible chain that keeps them obedient across 10,000 miles. I'm Marty. Let us begin. Story 1. There is a question that follows every North Korean laborer abroad, and it is the simplest question in the world. Why not run? He is in Russia, or he was in China, standing on scaffolding in a country where the police are not hunting him. The border he needs is right there. And still he does not go, and the reason is not a fence he can see. It is a fence he cannot. The regime that sent him did not gamble on his loyalty. It took a hostage first. Somewhere back in Korea, a family sits in an apartment, and that family is the reason his feet stay planted. A man surrounded by open doors will not walk through a single one when he knows the bill for his freedom will be handed to the people he loves. Story 2. This is not an accident of the system. It is the design. Reporting from defector groups and human rights investigators describes it plainly. When the state chooses who goes overseas to earn hard currency, it does not pick the young and unattached. It prefers the married man with children. It prefers the son with an aging mother. Because those people left behind are not merely family. They are collateral. The very thing that makes a life worth living, the people you would do anything to protect, is turned into the lock on your cell. Reportedly, workers with the deepest roots at home are considered the safest to send the farthest away. Love, in that calculation, is not a comfort. It is a leash. Story 3. To understand the leash, you have to understand the doctrine behind it, and it has a name older than most of the people bound by it. Guilt by association. Collective punishment. According to defector testimony and researchers who have documented this for decades, when one person is judged an enemy of the state, the shadow does not fall on him alone. It falls on 3 generations. A relative who flees, a family member who speaks against the leadership, and the ones left behind may lose their jobs, their housing, their ration cards, their place in society. Some, credible but difficult to fully verify from the outside, have reportedly been sent to political prison camps for the crime of being related to the wrong person. Innocence is no defense, because innocence was never the point. The point is fear that reaches sideways, into people who did nothing at all. Story 4. Once you see that doctrine, you see it shaping every choice a citizen makes. It is there in what a person says to a neighbor and what he does not say. It is there in the letter home that mentions only that the work is good and the food is fine, because the writer knows who else might read it. It is there in the worker abroad who counts his freedom in the currency of his family's safety and decides again to stay. This is a system that does not need a guard in every room. It has planted the guard inside the mind, and the guard's only weapon is a name and an address back home. That is a quieter kind of tyranny, and a more total one. Story 5. And then there are the ones who ran anyway. The defectors. We should be honest about what their courage cost, because they are honest about it, and it is often the first thing they grieve. Many who escaped carry a wound that never closes, the not knowing. Not knowing whether a mother still has her home. Not knowing whether a brother lost his job the week after they crossed. Not knowing whether the price of one person's freedom was quietly paid in full by the people who could not follow. Some have testified to exactly that fear, and to the guilt of having chosen a door that only they could walk through. Freedom for them did not arrive clean. It arrived with a debt they can never confirm and can never repay. Story 6. This is why the hostage system sits at the very center of how the whole regime holds together. A dictatorship can control what people read and where they travel and what they are allowed to say. But controlling the human heart is harder, and this is the regime's answer. It does not try to make people stop loving their families. It uses that love against them. Every soldier, every laborer, every ordinary citizen is bound not by belief, but by the certainty that disobedience is a bill their family will pay. Strip that away, and much of the obedience goes with it. The chain is not made of steel. It is made of the people you would never risk. Story 7. So here is the verdict, and I will say it plainly, because the people trapped inside this deserve plain speech and not a clever line. The cruelest prison is not the one with bars you can grip. It is the one built around someone you love in a country you can no longer reach. The North Korean worker abroad is a free man in every sense a map can measure, and a captive in the only sense that matters. His jailer is not a guard. His jailer is his own devotion, turned into a weapon and pointed at his family. We should not mistake his silence for consent, or his staying for contentment. He is holding a line that isn't his to protect people he may never see again. That is the chain. And until it is broken, the door standing open in front of him is not an exit. It is just one more thing they have taken. I'm Marty, and good night.